Are you an innovator or entrepreneur in the cycling space? Or maybe you're just an outdoor entrepreneur who wants to learn about the Greenhouse Outdoor Recreation Program. Tune into today's episode to learn how your community can leverage natural resources for positive economic impact. This is the Startup Junkies podcast.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Startup Junkies podcast. Thanks for tuning in from wherever and however you're tuning in with us today. My name is Talley. I am a member of the Startup Junkie team. I'm joined by my co-host and colleague, Daniel Koonce. How's it going, Daniel?
Doing well. It's a bright, beautiful Monday. How are you doing, Caleb?
It's a beautiful Monday in Northwest Arkansas, and we're joined by friends of ours and Startup Junkies, Phill, Shellhammer, and Zoe, Maddox. Welcome.
Hello.
Thanks for joining the show.
Thanks for having us.
Well, we're going to talk about the Global Cycling Accelerator that we're doing together here in Northwest Arkansas. But first, let's dive into kind of what made all that possible before we get into the accelerator itself. And let's talk about GORP, Greenhouse Outdoor Recreational Program.
Good place to start. October of 21 is when I started my role running a program called the Greenhouse Outdoor Rec Program, which we'll call GORP from here going forward. GORP is an incubator for startups, early stage startups in outdoor rec who have an idea and want some kind of help getting all the way through. We like to think we give them support to get their business model at least proven out, to give them the best chance of success as quickly as possible to launch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what was your involvement in GORP and kind of that rollout?
Since I joined the team, I started early on just supporting the program, and with Phil's own evolution is now leading the Office of Outdoor Rec. Catherine Andrews, hello, if you're listening. We're not going after your job. We love you. But when Phill took over as executive director of the Office of Entrepreneurship and Innovation, I stepped up to lead the GORP program. In fact, tomorrow we are starting our 7th cohort of that program. We're welcoming 8 companies into the fold. So fantastic. We now have a total, if we include this most recent cohort, 46 companies.
That's incredible.
Have been a part of that program. So it's definitely one that we're very proud of.
That's awesome. And having been in kind of this ecosystem for the last 6 years or so, I've seen programs kind of come and go, and it's incredible to see programs can continue to sustain a record of success and touch so many different entrepreneurs and scalable ventures.
One of the most exciting parts of it, at this early stage, a lot of companies just don't make it, right? Mm-hmm. You come with an idea or you've done a little bit of work, but you might not make it to launch, you might not make it there, and we don't have the final numbers yet, but we've got a large majority of the companies that have gone through the program are still to this day still going. Yeah. Many of them have taken on revenue, many of them have started to grow, some have taken on locations and
added employees.
Yeah. So we're seeing the program really thrive, which has been, it's exciting to see.
It's rewarding.
It is for sure.
And what we found too is, obviously we have a density of founders here in Northwest Arkansas, but there are also a lot of wonderful people across the state of Arkansas that are interested in building a business in outdoor recreation. Outdoor recreation, we have quite a bit of it, quite a few opportunities to enjoy the outdoors here, but it's a statewide project. And so to respond to that need across our state, about a year and a half ago, we went for a big federal grant to get continued funding to expand the Greenhouse Outdoor Recreation Program across the entire state of Arkansas. So now we not only have the kind of true incubator program based here in Northwest Arkansas, we have consulting open to anyone in the state of Arkansas that wants to open an outdoor rec business, and we have on-the-ground programming from communities like Mina to Helena in the eastern part of the state, Morrilton in the center. We're doing work in Jonesboro this year, really hoping to support more and more founders.
Yeah.
Are there any specific qualifications these founders need to have in order to apply to be in GORP? Or is it just simple as you have an outdoor recreation company? Do you want to get off the ground? Is it that simple? Or are there any specific qualities you're looking for?
It's that simple to interact with us and to interact with the program. We'll help anyone, no matter what your stage is, what your level of expertise is. For members of our community that are interested in joining the True Incubator program, that's a competitive program. There are some significant kind of financial incentives to be part of that program. We offer a non-dilutive grant. And because of that, we do expect founders to have demonstrated some serious commitment to getting this venture off the ground. It's best if founders apply to that program having already consulted with one of us to talk through the fundamentals of customer discovery, to talk through the fundamentals of doing a lean canvas and at least stress testing their idea before they apply.
They don't necessarily have to have a full-fledged scaling venture to plug in with the program.
No.
The incubator nature of that, kind of giving them opportunities to take that concept that they've kind of developed and turn it into a reality.
Yeah, and in fact, like when this early on, this was designed to not have a scalable as a definition for it, right? It was all about, can we provide support for anybody who's looking to create a scalable model, maybe a nationwide or global type business, but also somebody who wants to create a local startup that's going to be a mom and pop shop for their entire time, or a digital solution that's going to be an app-based model. It made the incubator unique because we would have those three business models all sitting around together around the same table, but it gave that support to those different levels. And what's cool, Zoe mentioned before, I think it's worth was digging in a little more, is like there were 40, we're at 48, 46 companies now starting the cohort, but over 400, probably almost 500 companies have come to us, ideas have come to us at every stage, some of them much later stages than what we deal with in the incubator, some much earlier, and we get to help them. So like the job satisfaction of sitting across the table every single week from somebody who's got a great idea in outdoor rec or a problem they think is worth solving, that's made GORP really worth it. And it's made the impact considerably large.
Yeah.
And what I'm especially proud of too is we've now developed as a state a reputation as being a state that is very supportive of founders of outdoor rec businesses. And we get inquiries all the time from founders outside of Arkansas wanting to know if they can access our services, wanting to know if they can get help too. And of course we say, yes, like we'd love to talk to you. And it's been also interesting to see other cities and states think about outdoor recreation as a core vehicle for economic development in the same way that Arkansas has done. And so really, I think as residents of Arkansas, we should all be proud that we are sort of setting a model that other communities can use.
And I think about those communities as part of the GORP Around the State program that you are touching, like Helena, which is close to where I'm from, and just kind of, I guess, preaching the gospel to them about how they can leverage what they have in terms of, untapped natural resources in their own backyard, leverage that for economic development and, potentially upward mobility for some of the folks that live and work in that area, because it's there. They have that in their backyard. With Helena specifically, you've got the river, you've got all of that. There's so much opportunity, I feel like.
The states really embraced it, right? So it's been a major initiative for our state government. And so having... So I'm on a committee called the Natural State Initiative. Natural State Initiative is really designed around a small group of people who are really trying to advise the governor on here's what we should be doing to drive more economic development out of this amazing set of assets that we have within our state. And it's getting down the granular level of this town and the opportunity that's here, right? This town has a state park that really hasn't been activated as nearly as it could. What if how could we invest here to make this a much more meaningful place? There's projects going on at Mena, around Pinnacle, and like you said, up near Helena, that are going to be significant outdoor recreation projects that will draw hundreds, thousands of people into those communities that otherwise wouldn't come.
And over the last few years, this is kind of the bridge to the Global Cycling Accelerator. As folks that have listened and are familiar with Northwest Arkansas and kind of the investment in infrastructure here and across the state for cycling, I feel like stakeholders put the flag in the ground several years ago and said Northwest Arkansas is going to be a center of gravity for cycling, and I think they succeeded in a lot of ways of doing so. If you Google mountain biking capital of the world, Bentonville shows up. I don't know if that's
official or not.
Defined. I don't know.
It's definitely official. We've claimed it. We've trademarked it.
Self-claimed.
But there's still some other towns that will argue.
Yeah.
But it used to be tongue in cheek. It used to when it first came out, it had this feeling of like, right, really, come on, Bentonville of all places, right, versus a Moab or other places. But now the industry is definitely woken up to Bentonville being a hub. not the, but definitely a hub of the industry across the globe.
Yeah.
And that investment's been seen.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's a good bridge to talk about the Arkansas Global Cycling Accelerator. Can you guys maybe give a 30-second elevator pitch about what this new accelerator is and what it does?
Sure. So we've talked about GORP, and again, stressing for the audience, GORP is an incubator program. So that's really targeting founders that don't have a lot of business expertise, or they don't really know business fundamentals when it comes to, the legal setup of an entity, marketing, pricing. An accelerator program is really poised to support founders that have that base layer of expertise. They have a product. They likely have generated some revenue. They have a really good sense of who their customer is, and they're really ready to scale. They're really ready to, fine-tune their operations, fine-tune their marketing, and capture some of the market. And so an accelerator program is focused on building industry relationships, investor relationships, and layering on very, very targeted mentoring support for founders with specific needs as they really prepare to grow. So that's the difference really between GORP and this program. And then, of course, the second key difference is that instead of targeting founders that are building any solution in the outdoor recreation space, we really want to focus on finding founders that are doing something interesting, new, either on the bike itself, or leveraging some kind of technology that connects rider to bike. And I should say to the bike itself or to a bike community. And I'm delighted to say, since we launched applications a few weeks ago, we've received dozens of applications from truly all over the world. Yeah. I've been talking to founders from just today alone, this morning, Czech Republic, the UK, another UK, and France. We've received applications from founders in Oceania, New Zealand, for example, from the US, of course. And then, of course,
a call with Korea later this week.
A call with a Korean founder. And then, we also it's really exciting to see founders in our backyard.
Yeah, that's right.
Some of whom have gone through the GORP program and are now at the right moment for an accelerator program. So we're seeing a lot of excitement from those founders too. So it's just been terrific. And to Phil's point about Bentonville being on the map and how at one point it was maybe tongue-in-cheek that we were the mountain biking capital of the world. Every founder that I've spoken to, not all of them have been here. All of them have heard of Bentonville. All of them know what's going on here. And they are all very excited at the prospect of just seeing it and being a part of it.
Yeah.
And so that's been really exciting.
That's significant. And just for context for our listeners, this program is a collaboration with Startup Junkie and GORP, leveraging, our, accelerator experience there, and with the Phill accelerator, and just the immense experience GORP has kind of in that space, and then the mentors and subject matter experts, including our friend Marshall, who will be a key piece of the program. Tell me a little bit about what he will be doing with our Marshall.
Sure. Yeah. So Marshall is wonderful. He's a colleague of ours and really is serving as our industry expert for the program. Functionally, his title is Cohort Advisor, and his responsibility is to really make sure that founders are making those key connections with industry leaders based on whatever solution that they're building. Marshall's background, he moved to the U.S. to Little Rock about a decade ago, was a business leader for several years, and during the pandemic, really opportunistically captured a bicycle market by buying a company called Time Bicycles and folding it under a larger group called Cardinal Cycling Group. He rides.
Former professional rider.
And just his industry connections, background, and pure passion. It's really exciting to hear him talk. I'm sorry he can't be with us today.
Yeah. Thought about having to cut out.
Yeah, we really should have like a bobblehead or something of him here with us.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you guys could.
So what's great is I would say Marshall was kind of the final piece for us.
Yeah.
Like I've been sitting around for the last couple of years saying, okay, we got the incubator going. I want to do an accelerator. It's the right next step, economic development wise. Right, accelerators are probably a little bit better to do for a community. No one really is gonna come to Bentonville or come to Northwest Arkansas because of the incubator. It's too early. Most people have full-time jobs and they're doing this as a side gig. But when it gets to accelerator, people have quit their jobs. People are putting their full effort into this. They can see the traction, the potential. And so the opportunities for our community to bring these companies in become much greater. So we've been pitching this thought process of we need an accelerator, we got to figure out how to fund it, how do we make this thing happen for a while. Marshall became that final piece of the puzzle because he had such great industry experience, because he had such a passion for this particular project. When we could put together him with what we've been doing with GORP, it just made a ton of sense. And then of course we had to find the funding, and the funding came through by our state, right? The Arkansas Economic Development Commission funded this with a match from the Walton Family Foundation. That's really allowing us to run this piece. But it was Marshall that was that last linchpin to make this all work.
And kind of the gateway to that in-depth industry knowledge and network.
Especially like we've got a ton of connections but within Bentonville, right? Within our local area, because the incubator has been very locally based. Now all of a sudden it starts to stretch much broader. His connections in Europe are pretty strong. And so we're bringing in people literally from around the world to be a part of the accelerator and to apply for it. So both sides of the coin.
And going back to what you were saying earlier about how all the applicants had heard of Bentonville and were excited, and their eyes had been on this, even if they hadn't been here before. Anecdote: the gentleman that we have a call with, who lives and works in South Korea, met him at CES, the Consumer Electronics Showcase, and he told him where we were from, and he said, "I've actually been to Northwest Arkansas twice for cycling from South Korea to Northwest Arkansas for cycling," which I thought was an incredible testament to just kind of, again, that center of gravity drawing everyone in there.
I think that's what I tell people I love about outdoor recreation as a vehicle for economic development. Right? When you think about Arkansas, we have so many powerhouse industries in this state. Agriculture. You mentioned lithium before we started this conversation, and that's wonderful. But not everyone has experience, as a farmer in the field. Not everyone potentially understands the applications of the lithium industry. But everyone has experienced the joy of riding a bike. I think everyone can very clearly, see why it's important for a community to support the outdoors and build infrastructure in the outdoors. And so it's especially exciting for us to be pushing and supporting economic development through outdoor recreation specifically, because it's such a clear good and it's such a universal, wonderful experience that everyone can be a part of.
Well, and we're wrapping economic development like broad, right? This is, yes, they might have come to ride because it was a tourism play, and we have a ton of tourists come through to ride, no doubt. But on top of that, we have a lot of people that have said, I'm working remote. That's where I want to live, because that kind of experience, that's what I want my hometown to be like. And then we have plenty of, this is becoming a hub of the industry. And so now all of a sudden companies are coming here and saying, this is a place for us to interact, for us to learn from each other, for us to build. We can find great talent. We can find industry connections, all from what's happening here in Bentonville. So we've got all the different pieces. That just the asset that we built around outdoor recreation and cycling specifically has created opportunity for us.
And to your point of it just kind of encompassing that good, I think part of the reason, or part of that journey to getting here, has been the stakeholders and their ability to make outdoor recreation and cycling specifically so accessible. And I think in trying to build around that, how do you create on-ramps for anyone to a hobby that then also supports economic development in that ecosystem? So just by creating that on-ramp and making it accessible to anyone who relocates to Northwest Arkansas, it creates that kind of heat and energy around it, I feel like.
At all levels, right? Because it's not just about, are you a professional rider, right? We have some of the best riding for families to come to, for your family to come enjoy cycling at the Greenway level. The Razorback Greenway is nothing more than a phenomenal, hard track trail that allows people of all skill levels to go and ride on and really experience the community. So, yeah,
and go from Peloton to riding a bike and get out there
all the way.
Are you an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur looking to get plugged into the ecosystem? We host a ton of events designed for education, inspiration, and collaboration, from weekly meetups to quarterly events like pitch competitions and annual events like our marquee event, the Startup Crawl, which is the largest startup party in Arkansas. Check out our event page on our website, sign up, and we'll see you there.
When does the accelerator start and how long does it last?
Great question. So applications are open now and they're open until February 11th. So there's still time. If you're listening to this or if you know someone who you think should apply, please direct them to www.cyclingaccelerator.com. I was pretty excited to see that website available. We snatched that up pretty quick.
Nice.
We'll have the cohort set by about mid-February. And we're actually going to announce the cohort for the first time publicly at the Arkansas Outdoor Economy Summit, which is taking place as part of the Governor's Conference on Tourism in Bentonville. That'll be on February 24th, so stay tuned. The cohort will formally start in March. And for the first 8 weeks, we will bring the cohort together virtually. We anticipate that the vast majority of our founder participants are going to be international. And so to kind of level set and think through a time where we can get everyone together, we'll have virtual meetings, so weekly cohort meetings, and then weekly industry expert workshops, bringing in industry R&D professionals, innovation professionals to talk about what trends they're seeing. And then asynchronously, we'll be making connections for cohort members with mentors, with investors that have expressed interest in supporting these types of companies. And then in May, we are bringing every cohort member to Bentonville. They'll be here for 2 weeks. During that time, there's going to be a public demo day event that is scheduled for May 20th at the Ledger, of course.
Very fun.
Perfect venue.
They can ride their bike right out.
They can ride, truly, they can ride right to the top. And we're, for those of you that are familiar with the Ledger, we're taking over the 6th floor patio space.
Okay.
So
Very
truly,
cool.
you can ride your bike straight up. Every company will have a booth. Our founders will be there. They want to meet you. And then, of course, they're going to pitch their company to everyone. And again, that event is public, so please join us. What we're really excited about when we bring these founders to town is we've partnered with the awesome folks behind Bentonville Bike Fest. And these founders will have the opportunity to have expo and booth space at Bentonville Bike Fest so that they can engage with thousands of potential customers and get some of that direct customer experience with guests at Bentonville Bike Fest. And then, of course, for those of you who have been to that event, everyone in the industry is there as well. So it just seemed to be a really efficient way to get them to Bentonville during a time that the industry will be in Bentonville en masse. And in fact, when I've spoken to some founders and they recognize the timing, they're even more excited because they recognize that the Unbound Gravel Race is happening the week after that. And so I'm having founders that are looking at their month of May, just stacking event after event. And we really did try to be intentional. Intentional with that timing.
Yeah, and it definitely helps. It's not unlike, with our Phill AI/ML accelerator, we typically try to align that demo day with Tech Summit because there is, why not give them the opportunity to, pitch, kind of graduate that accelerator program on a stage like that. And so it's great intentionality.
So let's fast forward a year from now. You guys are looking back at the first go round of this accelerator. What does success look like? Not only for you guys, but also for the founders participating.
Do you want to try?
I have my dream win.
Okay. What's the dream win?
My dream win is that one of these companies has an office in Bentonville, Arkansas a year from now. And truly, again, because this is an accelerator program, these are companies that are very much ready to open up something like a sales office, if not a headquarters, to really, base their North American operations from. To me, that would be the best win. Other metrics of success, I think, if participating in this program led a founder to an important business development opportunity or led to an investor introduction that, facilitated perhaps a Series A investment. That's another metric that we're going to be tracking closely. And then from the kind of role of being ambassador of this region, I want people leaving Bentonville thinking, wow, this is one of the greatest places on earth. I feel that strongly. I think we all feel this strongly. And I want to be able to make that happen for these founders. And I'm confident that we can.
I think getting people here, it's almost pretty natural. That kind of moment, like, oh.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think I agree with everything you said. I'm just going to add one piece to it because we have we talked a lot about international companies from around the globe that are applying to this piece. We also have some local ones too, right? And so if I go back to my passion for GORP from the beginning, right, we have some great companies that are continuing to thrive and grow that are right here locally, that are right here regionally as well. And so we'll have this kind of great influx of people that have never seen this before, and people here that are getting that next step forward that haven't had the opportunities. I mean, we've never put booths up at Bike Fest before. It's going to be amazing for these companies to get those exposures, even for our local companies too. That'll be part of this. We're excited to see the benefits that will come from that. I think will be great.
It's awesome. Well, is there any vision, I guess, or plans or desire to look at other elements of the outdoor recreation industry as you vision board for the future? I mean, cycling, that's a natural place there.
Yeah.
Climbing or other elements that are starting to kind of have that influx of activity.
If you think about the ones that are becoming priorities within our state, right? Obviously, hunting and fishing are massive categories for the state, so those are huge. Cycling, what we've done in our community, what we've done around the state, honestly, the next steps, the next ones feel like climbing and water sports, right? So river sports, and those two industries in particular. Now, is there enough opportunity for us to do a climbing specific one? I don't know. We'd have to figure that piece out. That's a little bit different industry than cycling, and we're not quite the hub that we would be for cycling for sure. But we've always wanted to kind of make that next step of, okay, what other GORP accelerator opportunities are there? And maybe it's another mixed play like we do with the incubator, but we'd want to keep pushing down this path for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How can the community members get involved with not only this accelerator, but also GORP as a whole?
Yeah, great question. Thank you for asking it. So if you're listening to this, I think first and foremost, save the date for the May 20th demo day for the Cycling Accelerator. Please join us again, May 20th at the Ledger. We'll have details soon about how you can register to attend for free, of course, on cyclingaccelerator.com. And while I'm plugging demo days, I might as well plug the GORP Incubator demo day for the spring.
Yeah.
That's happening on April 15th this year at Meteor Guitar Gallery in downtown Bentonville. Again, the public is welcome. And if you go to gorp.uark.edu soon, you'll be able to register for that event as well. So come out and see us. Come attend. Even if you've never ridden a bike before, I think it's really inspiring to be in community with folks that believe that they can change the world and make a difference. You can't leave an event like that without feeling inspired. And so if anything, kind of beat the winter blues and just get out and have that moment of community. For those of you that are listening to this and might be in the industry yourself, I really hope I've reached out to you already because that's kind of been my life for the past few weeks. But if for some reason I've missed you, it's certainly not intentional. Please reach out to us through our website. We would love to leverage your expertise as a mentor in the program. If you are an investor and it's part of your investment thesis to invest in health and wellness, or perhaps, tech-enabled health and wellness, we have some really interesting companies for you to look at.
Honestly, the investor thing is an interesting one because there is a challenge in outdoor recreation. These are not like oftentimes, high hockey stick, massive growth in businesses, so they don't attract a ton of VC exposure. But angels that are interested in this space, people that say, hey, I want to see really interesting tech forward like companies go forward. We're going to have some of the best ones in the globe sitting here on May 20th. And we'd love to get that exposure to people who are interested in actually seeing what we think are the next technology plays for the industry in hopes that we can get some of that investment play.
Yeah. This is a call to all investors in the area.
Absolutely.
Yeah. May 20th via the Ledger.
Yeah.
And just to reiterate, that kind of call to action for the community to come out and support too. It is inspiring to hear those companies' stories, their pitches, and just kind of their experience, but also for the entrepreneurs that are here on the ground that are kind of getting acclimated to this ecosystem, many for the first time. It goes a long way to have that community come there and say, hey, welcome. Yes. We want you here because, ultimately we do want these people to, grow these businesses within our community because of that, immense economic impact that it can have. And so just having a welcoming community that's there and saying, we want you to be a part of this, the fabric of this community, goes a long way.
It's honestly one of the best things about living here. I mean, I know many people will be watching this from Northwest Arkansas, but if you're not here, one of the best things about this community, about our entrepreneurship community as a whole, is this complete embracing of our entrepreneurs. And so people just step up all around here and say they'll take a coffee, they'll help, they want to support any way possible. This community is just so welcoming to founders that are within our community that want to build on their own, and as well as ones coming in. So that's a huge asset for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, do we want to ask the land the plane question?
We can.
I know this is a little more unconventional than what we typically do, but Caleb, go ahead.
Sure. So typically how we wrap up the podcast, the final question is we invite our guests to hop in their time machine, go back in time, whatever that milestone was, engage with your younger self and give your younger self advice based on all the accumulated knowledge that you've earned and learned over the years.
So give younger Phill and younger Zoe a piece of advice.
Got it. Yeah. You guys don't send that question out ahead of time.
You've been on this podcast before.
I know, and I'd forgotten that that's what you asked me. What did I say last time?
We just cut to clip.
Whatever I said last time was brilliant. Zoe, you got one?
I have something front of mind.
Okay.
So before I kind of came to OEI and the world of entrepreneurship, I spent most of my 20s in a very, very niche subject. So I spent a decade of my life studying military history and developing a really niche area of expertise in a graduate program. And I think that was a wonderful experience in many ways, but one of the ways in which it has impacted my confidence is it's kept me from speaking up about something unless I feel like I'm an expert in it. And so one of the things that I'm trying to retrain myself to do is to just approach every new field with a lot of curiosity without fear that I'm not really the world-renowned expert in this. And so I'm shaking off the PhD a little bit to just develop that kind of childlike wonder and curiosity again, and freedom from not being an expert in the room. And certainly working on this program, it stretched me in that way because I'm not a professional cyclist. I haven't been exposed to this industry for very long. I clearly love this community and I know cycling through the lens of what it is doing for our community. And so I'm a fan in that respect. But I felt some fear helping to lead this program because I'm not an expert. But over the past few weeks, as I've been speaking to more founders and getting to know more leaders from the industry, it's been awesome when I've been able, again, to just kind of shake off that imposter syndrome, really. So my advice to those of you listening, I think we all struggle with imposter syndrome every day. We all struggle with maybe not feeling like we're the expert or that we have a right to speak about something. You gotta brush that off as soon as you possibly can. And certainly don't waltz into a room with unearned confidence. I don't think anyone really likes those folks, but rather waltz in with a curiosity and a real hunger to go deeper. So
That's great advice. Phill, you want to follow that up?
Yeah, it's gonna be hard. So younger Phill, I think I would ask younger Phill to think about, so here's what I love. I love my job. And the reason why I love my job is because I feel like I'm helping people every single day. And honestly, I had kind of a big corporate career where I don't think I always had that. I don't regret my career. I loved what I built. I couldn't do what I do today without all the different experiences I've had in the past. So I love those pieces. But now I can look here and say what I'm doing right now is truly mission-based. It's truly helping somebody and seeing the results in somebody's life that I'm not sure I always got to see in my other jobs in the past. And so I'd love to tell younger Phill, like, get to more of the mission-driven helping of others piece sooner. Maybe you still need to build up those skill sets that you're building when you're younger, but get there quicker because the life satisfaction, the feeling of just making an impact on other people has come through in the last 3.5 years like it's never come through in my career before.
Yeah, that's also great advice. But we're excited to see you continue to impact people's life through the GORP program. And I can speak for Startup Junkie when I say we're excited to partner with you guys on this Cycling Accelerator program to help impact people's lives.
we really are too.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming on. We'll remind our listeners to April 15th
April 15th,
April
GORP
15th.
Incubator Demo Night, and then May 20th, Global Cycling Accelerator Demo Night, both in Bentonville.
Show notes.
Perfect. We'll see you guys there then.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share with a friend. Subscribe and review because it matters to us and we want to hear from you. If you're interested in learning how to work with us, check out the information below. See you next week.